Hello, I'm Eric Nakami, author of Man in the Middle, a collection of essays by a red, white, and blue American. Recently, in a local paper, I published a piece in which I talked about how I support reparations, and in my book I actually have a plan for reparations to address American slavery in the United States. But I also pointed out that I do feel some diversity programs or initiatives increasingly are intolerant against Christian Southerners and white males, and I wanted to provide some clarification. I do believe, as per my reparations plan, that we have to make up the gap between household net worth between whites and African Americans in this country. We have to do more. I do support affirmative action programs, and I know the Supreme Court has recently kind of knocked those down as not being equal protection under the law. But I do think there's a highest purpose to having such programs. But for me, I think what we're going toward more of is economic, based on someone's economic background. If they come from a lower socioeconomic background, that needs to be the emphasis. Of course, that would lead to a focus on African Americans who continue to be overall, on average, economically disadvantaged compared to whites. The key takeaway, though, that I want to stress is I am an all things being equal affirmative action proponent. In other words, based on education, experience, all things being equal, we should promote the hiring of minorities and women in those sectors and in the workforce and in education that have traditionally been dominated by white males. So I do make that distinction. I think if you go too far with an emphasis on not focusing enough on education and experience, then we can get into an area where we may not have the best qualified candidates, and that's a concern. Even if it's a minor concern, I think that still is a valid concern. So that's how I feel about affirmative action. Finally, I do want to make a point at the new emphasis on diversity programs from the far left. My concern is that people seem to feel if we hire more African Americans, hire more women, that if we accomplish that in a specific workplace or academic area, I'm talking location-based, and we leave out white males or others, that's fine because we're making up for past discrimination. I do not support that. I think diversity means representing the population in a locality. I think that's what diversity means. I also think it doesn't do well in the long term for race relations if you have a work group or work area that's predominantly minority, for example, and has left others out. Even if traditionally we're talking about people who have been disadvantaged. So I think we have to take a look at that. Also, I'm for diversity, but my diversity is integration. Remember, of course, separate is not equal. And but more importantly, in order for us to get past racial strife, which has increased recently in our nation, it means we have to live together, work together, go to school together. And that means diversity, that is integration. African Americans have been disadvantaged for 400 years. I do agree with the 1619 Project by Nicole Hannah Smith in that regards, and I talk about that in my book. But we don't want to make the same mistake. And I know there's the even justified temptation there on the part of the left and African Americans to say, well, now it's our turn and we're going to take advantage of everything we can. That's not what we want to do. We want integration. We want people, living with each other, talking to one another, exchanging ideas with one another. What makes our country great is the diversity, and that we're working together to make things better. That's why we lead the world. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Be well.